JB, good to see you, brother. How you doing? Good evening. How you been? Troy, good to see you. So how you doing? How you been? Mike, good to see you as well. How you doing? Good day. Pablo, good to see you as well. How you doing? Good day. Good afternoon, Leroy. Good to see you as well from Las Vegas. Let's go. Good, thank you. How's your day? It was good as well. Just mainly phone calls and emails. What else? Good to see you as well. How you doing? Dennis, good to see you as well. How you doing? By the way, thank you so much to everyone that's been retweeting and liking the sponsorship post, because the CMF is right now looking for sponsors. So thank you so much to everyone that's been tweeting and retweeting and also liking and commenting on that post as well. Now, some sponsors have reached out to me, some big names and some not so big names in any sort of a way, but we're accepting anyone. We don't discriminate in the CMF. Any sponsors that are established some sort of projects or company will be good to go. But no scammers. What else? Let's go. Mav, good to see you as well. How you doing? Joe, good to see you as well. How you doing? Evening. Bitcoin has been advertised on giant Bitcoin dollar sphere. It's amazing. Yes, I've seen it. The post, I saw the news article regarding Bitcoin in Las Vegas sphere. I'm loaded and ready to transfer. Let's go, Troy. Troy, I will help you out after this live show regarding transferring your assets from these exchanges to your Tangent. No problem. Scott, good to see you as well. How you doing, brother? How you been? So, I'll give you a gist of what we're going to be talking about tonight's live show, and then I'll do the disclaimer, intro, and by that time, everyone's tuned in for the first part of the live show. Colin, good to see you, brother. How you doing? Miles, how's your parents? My parents are doing very well. Thanks so much for asking, Scott. How's your family doing, Scott, as well? And on tonight's live show, we are going to be talking about Anthony, the founder of Skybridge Capital. He's came out with his political debate on crypto, basically his perspectives on cryptocurrencies regarding Trump, regarding Kamala Harris, and regarding anybody else that's going to be working alongside the government in terms of cryptocurrencies. So we're going to go through this major CEO's perspective on the matter. We're also going to be talking about tonight's live show regarding the pro-Bitcoin RF Kennedy Jr., and how he's making some other claims right now, and how he also denies endorsement for Donald Trump regarding his political campaigns or cryptocurrency campaigns. We're also going to talk about tonight's live show regarding the FINMA, who has essentially came out and said that stablecoin issuers are a threat to the Swiss banks. That's an interesting one regarding Swiss banks. We're also going to talk about on tonight's live show regarding America. America is headed for bankruptcy, said Elon Musk. We're going to go through his perspective on why he thinks that America is going towards bankruptcy. Some other people alongside Elon Musk also give their opinions, mixture of opinions to go through on that article. We'll go through it on tonight's live show. We're also going to talk about on tonight's live show regarding Michigan, and how Michigan has also been investing their pension funds into Bitcoin ETFs. Now, this is new information that came out from the filings that was essentially done with the SEC on who's been investing in the Bitcoin ETFs, corporations, companies, regular people, and from the retail section and so on. And we've just got information that essentially the state of Michigan's retirement system has also been investing into Bitcoin ETFs. We're also going to talk about tonight's live show regarding cross-border Bitcoin payments, a top priority for Marathon Digital Bitcoin 2024. Apparently, Marathon Digital is working on a new feature for cross-border Bitcoin payments. We're also talking about tonight's live show regarding the Federal Reserve and how the Federal Reserve ends all enforcement actions against crypto bank Silvergate. We're also going to talk about tonight's live show regarding Grayscale receiving the full green light, apparently from the SEC, to launch their Bitcoin mini trust ETF. Their Ethereum mini trust is also next to possibly get a green light. We're going to talk about tonight's live show regarding how would a potential Kamala Harris presidency affect Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies if, by some oddly movements, she does become president. And what will happen if she actually does regarding cryptocurrencies and blockchain, the future of blockchain inside the United States. We're also going to talk about tonight's live show regarding Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor was also one of the people that was speaking at the Bitcoin event, which is still going on in Nashville. We have some information on regarding what Michael Saylor has said in his big speech. Now, there's a lot of people making speeches at this conference. Donald Trump is one of the people that's making a speech at this conference. We still haven't got information on what Donald Trump has exactly said at this Bitcoin conference, but we have information on what Michael Saylor has said. Snowden is going to be there as well. He's going to be essentially making some keynote speeches as well, which once I get the information, I'll let everybody know about that on this live show as well. We're also going to talk about the U.S. Senate Banking Committee member and how a senator has came out and said that if he is chosen essentially as a banking committee member, he will bring innovation inside the United States. And we're also going to talk about tonight's live show regarding Ripple. Ripple's CLO has just donated a substantial amount of XRP to Donald Trump. And we're also going to talk about Brazil on tonight's live show as well. Something interesting is happening regarding CBDCs, Brazil, and AI. They've created, in their own words, a super app. Brazil's calling their CBDC app that's going to be launching in 2025, which is a realistic timeline for CBDC, not the one the Philippines was saying yesterday, 2029, as if the Philippines are going to release in 2029. Brazil also said a very long time ago they're going to be releasing CBDCs in 2035. I said they're lying, and now look at this. Brazil launching CBDCs in 2025. Who saw that one coming? Not me. So Brazil's calling their CBDC app the super app. We're going to go through that as well. It's got AI features apparently attached to it. It's going to be very, very advanced CBDC banking app. Now, before we go through any of that news, the first news we're going to go from today's live show is going to be regarding Anthony, Skybridge CEO's Capital's perspective and some other people's perspectives as well regarding the matter of debates and crypto debates. But before we go through that news, welcome to the CMF live show. If you're watching this for the first time ever, on this live show, I talk about the most recent news that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, AI, politics, and also we do live Q&As as well, which means if you have any questions, put it down inside the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. I go through everybody's comments one by one. We are live right now on YouTube and X as usual every single night. And the disclaimer of this live show, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. So welcome to the CMF live show if you're watching this for the first time ever, and if you're a regular, let's go CMF. Now, before we go through the news, let's go inside the comment section, but the first news we are going to be going through after the comment section is regarding Anthony, the Skybridge CEO Capital's opinion and an interview that he did with CNBC regarding crypto debates and essentially crypto politics moving forward. But before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section first, and let's see if there's any questions, and let's say hi to everyone. Let's see where we were. We were at here. I've been doing well. Thanks for asking, Scott. Let's go. I love my CMF. Let's go, Scott. I'm tired from the 4-flight delay and waiting for security to kick people off my flight supposed to arrive at 11. I got there at 3 a.m. Let's go with us. Thank you. Let's go, Troy. Bitcoin conference on YouTube has been interesting, especially chain fusion for Bitcoin. Evening, Miles and family. Hope everyone is okay. Ian, good to see you. How you doing? Good evening, Miles and CMF. Orphan, good to see you. How you doing? Morning, Miles and CMF. Shelly, how you doing? Morning. Good evening, Miles and family. Butterfly, good to see you. How you doing? Miles, are XRP ETFs available yet? No, they're not available yet. The case has to end first before an XRP ETF or even a Ripple IPO. Good evening, Miles and CMF. Free and forever, good to see you. How you doing? Share the program. I just did. Let's go, Scott. Thank you so much to everybody, by the way, that's been sharing this essentially this live show on X right now. Thanks so much to everyone that's been retweeting and liking this live show as well. And thanks so much to everyone that's also been liking this live show right now on YouTube. Jason, good to see you. How you doing? Evening. How you been? Evening, Miles and CMF from Dubai. Let's go, Jason. So, first news on tonight's live show is regarding the political movements of cryptocurrencies in the United States moving forward. But this perspective is coming from the founder of Skybridge Capital. Now, he did an interview with CNBC. There's a lot of things happening in terms of cryptocurrencies, especially this Bitcoin conference that's going on right now. Big names are at this conference right now. But here's the news. Anthony clears the air on political debates on crypto. Anthony, the founder of Skybridge Capital, appeared on a CNBC Squawk Box and emphasized the need for Democrats and Republicans to come together and regulate Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Now, regarding Democrats and Republicans coming together, they have came together recently regarding some votes and some measures. That's mostly because Ripple, Coinbase, Kraken, they have this crypto fund, about $180 million inside this fund where politicians can have access to it. So Democrats and Republicans, some have came together. Anthony also clears the air on political debates. Anthony, in an interview, underscored the necessities for the support and regulating Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. He stressed the collaborative efforts from both political parties are crucial in establishing a balanced regulatory framework for the burgeoning essentially crypto industry. This trend is evident in the recent passing of the Financial Innovation and Technology for 21st Century Act by the US House of Representatives and support from both Democrats and Republicans. However, he particularly disapproved of Gary Gensler, Elizabeth Warren, and anti-crypto approaches as being a counterproductive to the growth of the industry. We need to make Bitcoin and the regulation around blockchain and cryptocurrencies safe. In other words, he highlighted ongoing discussions with White House officials alongside prominent figures like Mark Cuban, Michael Novoscott, to address the risk associated with the current regulatory approach, which he described as anti-crypto. Anthony also claimed that the recent market volatility in June is because of Germany's government unloading large amounts of Bitcoin and the release of about $9 billion worth of Bitcoin. He said he still holds a positive outlook towards digital currencies if and only if there is essentially a great approach towards regulations. Political influence on Bitcoin regulations. Anthony also noted that politicians, including US Vice President Kamala Harris, could positively influence the regulation of Bitcoin. He said that in the next election, if Harris becomes the winner, she may take the middle ground on the regulation of Bitcoin. And he also said that Vice President Harris wins the election, I believe that she will shift towards the center of Bitcoin regulations. He also credited former President Donald Trump for the shift, noting that the positive sentiments towards cryptocurrencies from Trump made Democrats reconsider their positions. Anthony also appreciated Trump for changing the Democratic approach to the regulation of cryptocurrencies and called on the young Democrats to switch to a fair position. Anthony also spoke about the raising institutional adoption of Bitcoin as an investment asset, comparing the situation with gradual emergence of other revolutionary services like Uber. He called that the same could happen to Bitcoin that happened to companies like Uber. He highlighted the increasing interest from institutional investors, citing Wisconsin State's largest investments in Bitcoin and Jersey City's shift to Bitcoin ETFs, which is all true. I revealed these news a few days ago as well. That's essentially, we're getting information, accurate information, factual information from the SEC filings that Jersey City is shifting their opinion towards essentially buying Bitcoin ETFs towards pension funds. And Wisconsin has also invested about $100+ million inside of Bitcoin ETFs as pension funds, as backings for pension funds. And also we're getting another state inside the United States coming forward to buy towards pension funds as well, Bitcoin ETFs backing pension funds, which is a major move. Upcoming Bitcoin 2024 conference that's going on right now. Anthony and the former President Donald Trump scheduled to speak at the Bitcoin 2024 conference this weekend, especially suggests that Trump may discuss plans for Bitcoin Street reserves, further legitimizing Bitcoin as an asset class inside the United States government's eyes. This year's conference was also supposed to be attended by Vice President Kamala Harris, but due to her schedule, she could not attend the meeting. Anthony said it's a miss for her. She should have been there, but she wasn't. Nevertheless, I understand why she wasn't. I don't. Why is she not at one of the biggest events for blockchain technology if she's pro-crypto? Earlier in the week, Anthony had taken to Twitter to calm the crypto community, saying that Kamala Harris is supportive of cryptocurrencies. He noted that it would be wrong to regard Kamala Harris' non-attendance at the Bitcoin conference as hostility towards the sector. It's a bit more of a common sense type of situation. Anthony also stated that Gary Gensler, will be fired, and Elizabeth Warren, will also be sidelined as financial services Caesar in the Harris administration. Let's keep crypto it will be a healthier for the ecosystem in the long run if we get rid of Gary Gensler and Elizabeth Warren. Well, I have a little speech also towards Anthony, the Skybridge Capital CEO, who's also going to be making a speech at the Bitcoin conference. For you to make an interesting speech about how Gary Gensler will be fired and Warren will be sidelined when Kamala Harris becomes president, in his opinions. These two people will be sidelined and forgotten about. You see, the same person you're essentially voting for, Kamala Harris, to get rid of Gary Gensler and essentially sideline Elizabeth Warren, she could have done all these things for the 4 years she's been working as the Biden administration. She was a part of the Biden administration. She was VP. She was part of the Biden administration. She could have easily stifled, essentially, Elizabeth Warren for her stifling innovation towards cryptocurrencies. She could have easily stifled Gary Gensler for wasting everybody's time and suing everything that he sees in his sites that involves blockchain in the courts. But she didn't at all. So the same person that you're saying, if she becomes president, she will get rid of Gary Gensler, she would get rid of Elizabeth Warren. She could have done all these things. She still can, but she won't. Now, the next news to talk about tonight's live show is the pro-Bitcoin R.F. Kennedy Jr. He eyes election victories and denies endorsements for Donald Trump. Apparently, there was some rumors going around that R.F. Kennedy Jr. is going to be dropping out and that he's going to be pledging towards Donald Trump. Now, R.F. Kennedy Jr. was a bit of essentially slightly upset about this news that's coming around him, and has came out and rectified it and said he's not dropping out, he's not endorsing Donald Trump, and he's still running for presidency, R.F. Kennedy Jr. Now, we're going to go through that news next, but before we go through that news, let's go inside the comment section first. Let's see where we were. We were at here, I think. Yep. Manny, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Watch out. There is a video on YouTube about Elon Musk pretending to be a Congress, and he's telling to scan a QR code and send crypto, and he will send back double as a scam. Yep, that's definitely a scam. If anybody inside the crypto space ever tells you to send them crypto for them to double it and give it back to you, just think to yourself. Just think. It doesn't matter if they, and there's a lot of people pulling these scams. They use Elon Musk, Mark Cuban, Bill Gates. They use all these, influential, big, wealthy billionaire figures, and they use AI to create these videos and to tell people, if you send them crypto, this is Elon Musk. If you send me crypto, I'll send it back to you and double it. Just always use common sense. Always use common sense. Nothing in life is pretty much free. It's very rare. It's very, very rare that sometimes some things in life is free. But also just think to yourself of giving money to somebody else to double it and send it back to you. Howdy Miles and crypto people, Semper, good to see you. How you doing? Because Harris is fake regarding crypto, pretty much. Please click on the thumbs up, guys. Let's go, Shelly. Yes, definitely. If you're enjoying this live show so far, click on the thumbs up button on YouTube Live. She might want her own people in office. There's also that possibility as well that she might want her own people in office as well, but I don't trust her. Neither do I, to be honest. But here's the thing, and I said this before yesterday as well. I said this yesterday that basically Trump is either playing a role or he's against CBDCs genuinely, and Kamala Harris is pro-CBDCs. So, well, we know who the circle is going to be choosing, and by the circle, I mean the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum is not going to be choosing Trump if he's against CBDCs. Now, the pro-Bitcoin R.F. Kennedy Jr. eyes election victory. So R.F. Kennedy Jr., in his words, he still believes that he can become president of the United States. The independent candidate, Robert F. Kennedy, has denied ever stepping away from the upcoming United States presidential elections, or even endorsing Republican nominee Donald Trump, apparently. R.F. Kennedy Jr. clarifies that Donald Trump endorsement claims are fake. R.F. Kennedy Jr. took to X to debunk any speculations about him dropping out of the election through an endorsement for Trump. There were social media conversations between him and Trump at the time the former president got shot earlier this month, and in speculations, he said undoubtedly that he was in the race to win it. The assertion is in his confidence in snapping the votes. Kennedy claims that independents are the largest voting group currently, in his opinion, momentum in his favor as he's closing in on the ballot access in all 50 US states. In the light of all these, the independent candidates looks forward to essentially competing headlong with Donald Trump and whoever the Democrats will nominate to represent them. Kennedy has support from the top entities like Cardano's founder, Charles Hodgson. So Cardano's founder right now is Ada, basically Cardano's founder, is behind Kennedy. Not Trump or anybody else, but Kennedy. And once said that he would vote for RF Kennedy Jr. as he believes he can make a difference regardless if he wins or not. In his endorsements for RF Kennedy Jr., the Cardano inventor noted that the pro-Bitcoin contest in his horse to ride in November. After dropping out of the race, President Joe Biden endorsed Kamala Harris to take his place. She's yet to be approved by the Democrat leaders, but Harris has gone ahead to launch her first official campaign video. This is only a week after Biden made his decision public. In this ad video, Kamala Harris highlighted her swift rise to the position of nominees in elections just over 100 days away. U.S. presidential nominees and cryptos. From the crypto perspective, the presence of RF Kennedy Jr. in this race could stiffen the competition for Donald Trump. The reason is not far-fetched, as it has to do with the RF Kennedy Jr.'s pro-Bitcoin stance. It is widely believed that this year's election will be influenced by crypto for all candidates. Now, especially Trump has not stopped talking about his support for crypto firms. The former president consistently talks about all the favorable crypto policies he would introduce to the sector once elected president. He is one of the strongest crypto-inclined candidates in the United States presidential elections. He has gotten much love thus far, raising $4 million in crypto for his campaign thus so far. And also, Kamala Harris recently refused to attend an ongoing Bitcoin conference, a move that portrays her crypto stance. Apparently, also, Kamala Harris refused to have a debate with Donald Trump on Fox. So Fox News was going to do a debate, holding a debate with Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. Donald Trump apparently agreed, and she disagreed to essentially have a debate with Donald Trump. Maybe because she's useless. It's Kamala Harris. I mean, come on. Now, the next news to talk about tonight's live show is regarding the FINMA, which is essentially they came out, which is the Swiss Financial Market Supervisory Authority, has came out and said that Switzerland, or Swiss banks in other words, or stablecoins are a threat to Swiss banks. Now, we're going to go through their perspective on why they believe that stablecoins, there are too many stablecoins coming up, but why they believe that stablecoins are a threat to Swiss banks. Now, Switzerland being the bank of the world as well, it's quite an important matter. But we're going to go through their perspectives. But before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section first. Let's see where we were. Lena, good to see you. How you doing? How you been, Lena? Why would X remove crypto emojis? Yeah, I saw the article, but I'm not sure if they have. I saw the article regarding X removing crypto emojis. I haven't checked if they have officially removed it, so I haven't confirmed it. Mouse, is there a private and public XRP ledger? And if so, will they eventually merge and send the price skyrocketing? So there's an old rumor. There's an very, very old rumor about XRP, which is essentially that XRP has two prices. And I rectified this and I debunked this a very long time ago. But for a very oddly reason, this rumor has decided to resurface again. So there's this rumor that XRP has two prices. One on a private ledger, one on a public ledger. And I said this, that if anybody believes that XRP, not saying you do, Freedom Forever, any sort of a way, but I'm saying this in the matter of, if anybody believes that there are two prices for XRP, there is an XRP token, very, very high, and then there's the public XRP, which is for the poor people, in other words, which is very, very low priced. There is one price for XRP. There is only one. There's no publics and privates going on. They can't have two price points for XRP, okay? Otherwise, you can just buy XRP on the public and essentially sell it through arbitrary on the private for a higher price if there is 2 price points for XRP. So for any morons out there that are believing these rumors that there is $1,000 XRP and there's a $1 XRP, the $1 XRP is for the poor people on the public chain, and the private XRP ledger is having a $1,000 XRP going about, you're a moron, because you can just buy the cheaper XRP on the public chain, sell it through arbitrary, which is, by the way, illegal in some countries, in some states, and some countries and jurisdictions, for a higher price on the private ledger. There's no such thing. There is one XRP, one price point. Also, the open market always sets the price, okay? And once someone sells it through arbitrary, the open market will rebalance itself and set the price again. So you can't have a $1,000 XRP for the wealthy people and a $1 XRP for the poor people. There's no such thing. There is one XRP, one price point. Otherwise, you can buy it for the cheap one, sell it through arbitrary for the expensive one, which would then balance the price again, because the open market sells, essentially the open market sets the price. So you can't do that. It's illegal. So there's one price for XRP. There is one XRP. That's it. There's one XRP token. You can't have 2 XRPs at different price points. So I debunked this a very long time ago, but please do not believe these morons that they have a rich XRP and a poor XRP. There's one XRP, one price. So does that mean BlackRock are not interested in pursuing an XRP ETF, saying there is only interest in Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs, or just smoke and mirrors? Regarding which matter? X removing crypto mergers. Shelley, elaborate that regarding the BlackRock matter. Elaborate on why BlackRock is interested, why BlackRock is not interested in pursuing XRP ETFs, saying there is only interest in BTC and Ethereum ETFs, or just smoke and mirrors. It's on the basis of what BlackRock has recently sent. Yes, smoke and mirrors. Why on Fox that network is worthless? I do not like her either. I do not like either candidate. Fair enough, Scott. Apologies in advance, CMF. And Miles, due to the time difference and all the inexclusive results, I may not survive till the end of the live, but I sure will catch up in the morning. Let's go, Jason, no problem. Thanks, Miles. I do now remember you stating your answer. Let's go pretty further. Yeah. Yes, thanks, Miles. No problem. Anytime, Shelley. Yes, smoke and mirrors. Now, the FINMA thinks that stablecoin issuers are a threat to the Swiss banks. The Swiss Financial Market Supervisory Authorities, which is the FINMA, sees that stablecoins issuers are a problem for the country's banks. This problem started a while ago, essentially. Its 2019 guidelines already highlighted concerns about the legal and regulatory aspects of stablecoins. Since then, several projects have launched in Switzerland, making this issue even more pressing. Stablecoin holders typically have a payment claim against the issuer, which categorizes these claims as either bank deposits or collective investment schemes. The classification depends on whether the underlying assets are managed for the account and risk of the stablecoin holder or the issuer. The Anti-Money Laundering Act, the AMLA, applies almost always due to stablecoins intended purpose as a payment method. The legal concerns. In 2020, the Financial Action Task Force, the FATF, identified that stablecoins may essentially be used for money laundering purposes and illicit activities. And these risks include anonymous transfers via self-managed wallets, global reach, and sustainability, essentially for layering money in washing machines. The price stability and value storage functions of stablecoins make them attractive to criminals. Ongoing global conflicts have shown stablecoin potentials for sanctions and illicit activities. On July 9th, the FATF published an update on the implementation of standards for virtual assets and service providers. The FINMA in Switzerland states that the stablecoin issuers are financial intermediaries under anti-money laundering laws. They must verify the identity of stablecoin holders and establish the beneficiary owner's identity. If doubts arise during the business relationship, verification must be repeated. So what Switzerland essentially is stating at this matter, the FINMA. Now, you might think that this is just only related to Switzerland in any sort of a way. It's not related to any other jurisdiction out there. You are definitely wrong. Switzerland is part of the Bank of International Settlements. It's also part of the G20 and so on. So on that matter, whatever that they say is most likely going to be implemented in other G20 countries as well. Now, what they're essentially stating is that in the future, by future I mean this could be next year, they're going to be implementing a new identity for anybody that's using cryptocurrencies. So there's no more anonymous transaction wallets happening between anyone around the world. So they know fully well that this is me, for example, sending money to somebody else around the world. And it's not just, public blockchain just full of numbers and letters and nobody knows who the wallet belongs to. In the future, it's going to be, this is my wallet, and they will know that this is my wallet, just like a bank account. So no more, essentially, any sort of anonymous transactions will be happening, and this is according to Switzerland. They said that they can do this and stop illicit activities happening. Any sort of people sending money to someone they shouldn't have, because that person can use that crypto money to essentially start some sort of illicit activities. So the CGMF's report assumes that the prohibition of bearer saving books applies to stablecoin transactions in a neutral way. This enforces financial intermediaries' obligations to verify client identities, applying to all under the AMLA, the anti-money laundering laws, breaking essentially banking law and implementations. Internationally, stablecoin issuers are expected to be under appropriate national supervisions, following the Financial Stability Board's FSB 2023 recommendations. Accepting public deposits professionally usually requires a banking license. Deposits from public or liabilities owed to customers as per the banking's ordinance. Now, however, expectations exist, such as funds with banks, guarantees for repayments and interest, which are not considered for public deposits. In Switzerland, some stablecoin issuers use bank guarantees, allowing them to bypass the FINMA's banking license requirements, but still needing affiliation with a self-regulatory organization as financial intermediaries. This creates risk for both stablecoin holders and banks providing the guarantee. To protect depositors, the FINMA has set a minimum requirements for these default guarantees applied in the technology-neutral manner to stablecoins. These include ensuring customers have individual claims against the bank coverage of all public deposits, uncomplicated access to guarantees, and permissibility of legal defense by the bank. Despite these measures, the FINMA essentially says that the protection offered by these guarantees does not match that of a banking license. Stablecoin holders lack deposit protection under banking law. Multiple essentially default guarantees can increase coordinations, needs, and operational risk, potentially leading to unauthorized activities if not actively managed. Now, on that basis, they are, yes, they're going to be essentially saying that every transaction will be tracked. Yes, everything is on a public blockchain. Even though it is a public blockchain, they still don't know who, essentially which wallet belongs to which person. Now, they can track it wallet to wallet to wallet to wallet based on transfers, and then the end result will be somebody spending that cryptocurrencies, which will, let them know who that person was. But before, instead of going through that process for Switzerland of wallet to wallet to wallet to transactions, tracking people to find out if they're using it for illicit activities, their cryptocurrencies, they just said, let's just make it simple. Everybody has a digital identity if they want to use cryptocurrencies for transactions. Everybody must have a digital identity if you want to send stablecoins in this process or any other cryptocurrencies. They've also said essentially that by having a digital identity, it protects you from banking frauds or transaction frauds, which means they can stop you from doing illicit activities by sending your cryptocurrencies to a scammer by mistake, for example. So if they create digital identities, they can protect you from sending money to scammers inside the crypto space as well. So they're saying, one, we can track you, and two, we can stop you from doing stupid movements in the crypto space. I mean, positives and negatives about it. One is nobody wants to be tracked in cryptocurrencies, but two is they'll protect you from sending to scammers. So pro and negative about it. But the next news we're going to talk about in tonight's live show is regarding America. America is headed for bankruptcy, says Elon Musk. Not just Elon Musk, a few other people as well. That's the next news we're going to go from tonight's live show, his perspective on America. But before we do that, let's go to the comment section first. Let's see where we were. By the way, this is a live, essentially TV show. This is the live show right now. CMF live show, it's a crypto live show. If you have any questions, don't be shy. Put inside the comment section. I'm reading everybody's comments one by one and answering them one by one as well. Let's see where we were. Coin, good to see you as well. How you doing? What was behind the LAT pump? Just transactional based. That's it. Regarding the contracts that they have going on, some transactional based movements. Mouse, how are prices set for ETFs? How are the prices set for ETFs? Based on how much essentially inflow is coming in. In simple words. When can we, if that's what you mean, when can we expect a crypto summer, a high spike in prices straight after the Ripple case, which is also the end of summer? Hello, Miles and CMF. Jim, good to see you as well, though. Hello, Miles. Brian, good to see you as well. And CMF, what an exciting day at the BYC conference. I'm not there, but watched it being streamed. Let's go, Brian. Miles spoke with the XRP Queen, who mentioned that your schedules prevented you both connecting to get you on the XRP documentary, which is true. Denise, good to see you as well. How you doing? Yeah, which is true on that basis of regarding the documentary. Our schedules did not meet up with each other in any sort of a way. Now, America is headed for bankruptcy, Elon Musk said. Elon Musk appears sure that the American economy is headed for essentially an absolute collapse. In a tweet on X today, Elon Musk replied to an economic data posting state, America is headed for bankruptcy, FYI. Raising national debt as long as major issues in America. And Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla, has taken notice. He said that this economic state is one, essentially, based on the data, this economic state is one he has held for months. On July 22nd, 2024, Elon Musk said America is going bankrupt. The tweet was a response to a post on Billy Marcus, the founder of Dogecoin. To that end, Peter, a well-known crypto critic, agreed and said it won't stop there. Soon, 100% of the federal tax revenue will go to pay interest on the debt. All new government spendings will be financed by debt. The Fed will, of course, monetize it, so inflation will be the government's only source of funding. Inflation is the most expensive tax. According to reports, 76% of all personal income tax last month went to servicing the $34 trillion national debt. One ex-user asked, how did we get here? In other words, why is it so bad? His answer is two men, FDR and Richard Nixon. Together, they broke the dollar and put the American people into debt slavery. In June 2024, the US government paid $140.2 billion in interest on Treasury securities. For reference, the government collected $184.9 billion in individual income tax in the same month. This means that 76% of June's individual income tax revenue was used completely for national debt interest payments, excluding essentially principal repayments. Elon Musk sees essentially that the American economy is doomed. The US economy saw a low GDP growth rate of 1.4% in 2023 to 2024, a significant decrease from 3.4%. In the fourth quarter of 2023, the third quarter's growth rate is expected to be lower, possibly falling to around 1%. However, some economic analysts believe that if inflation and interest rates fall, the economy will pick up later this year and reach a 2% annual growth rate. While the United States has long boosted a healthy and booming economy, its national debt has been rapidly increasing. For example, the federal government debt of the United States was $5.77 trillion. The US national debt, just to put in perspective, the US national debt was at $5.77 trillion at the beginning of 2000. The year 2000, the national debt was around $5.7 trillion. More than quadrupled to $12.7 trillion by the beginning of 2010. And it's expected to reach essentially much more higher points as were essentially, it was It was expected to reach $23.2 trillion by the beginning of 2020, and the most recent growth has particularly striking, with the national debt hitting $34.94 trillion, according to the latest Treasury Department numbers. The federal department estimates that interest payments on federal debt instruments will reach $1.14 trillion this fiscal year, which, basically, moving forward, as the years go by, you're just going to be paying off that, which means what Peter said, which was, it won't stop there. Soon, 100% of the federal tax revenue will go to pay interest on the debt. All new government spendings will be financed by debt. The Fed will, of course, monetize it, so inflation will be the government's only source of funding. Inflation is the most expensive tax. Facts. In the most simplest words, absolute facts. Yes, it's going to be going through the roof. They're just going to be printing, and it gets to a stage where they're borrowing for no apparent reason, causing some random wars alongside the world, and once you know it, the American people are paying for it. I mean, you're already paying for it, but when it gets to that stage, it's 100%, which is ridiculous. But all of those problems can be solved. There is one man that can stop wars. Believe it or not, there is only one man in this entire planet that can stop wars. But some people don't like that man, and some people don't want to vote for that man. But you know for a fact that that man is the only man that can stop any sort of wars. How do we know this? Because it's sort of factual information of him stopping wars. That man is Donald Trump, obviously. When Donald Trump was in power, he was the only man that stopped wars. There was 0 wars going on. 0. And he was the only man that essentially went to North Korea, shook Kim Jong-un's hand, and put him in his place. Before that, Kim Jong-un wanted to attack the United States and so on and so on. And after Donald Trump flew over, shook his hand, he, silenced him, let's just say. Putin didn't want to start any wars either because of Donald Trump. China was too scared to start any sort of wars because of Donald Trump. So everybody was very, very scared of the power of the United States because of Donald Trump. And then they removed Donald Trump, and all the wars started because there's no firm hand. And when there is no firm hand, you have essentially a collapsed economy. It's very simple. It's like a household. Very simple terms. It's like a household. When you have a household with a father and a mother who protect that household, who raise the kids in that household correctly, you would have a good outcome. It could just be a mother as well that raises that child and it has a good outcome, or it could just be a father by themselves that raise it. The point and the moral of the story is, essentially, when you have a firm hand, you can fix anything. But when you don't have a firm hand, especially not on the economy, and you have somebody like Sleepy Joe, you get wars because people don't listen to you, because people don't respect you. And also people like Sleepy Joe benefit from wars because he's poor. If you didn't know that, now you know. And people like Sleepy Joe, they don't have their own money, so they have to skim it off the top. And people like Sleepy Joe, when they skim it off the top, they're obviously going to be skimming it off the top from taxpayers' money. But people like Trump, they have money. They don't need to skim it off the top. They just use the law in their own benefits, which is a smart move to do. Everybody would criticize Trump and say, oh, Trump doesn't pay his taxes. Would you pay your taxes? If you had the option, would you pay your taxes? No, nobody would. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Because everybody will criticize that man and say, well, Trump never paid his taxes. If you had a choice, would you pay your taxes? And the answer is no. There's not a single person on this planet that will come out and willingly say, yes, I will pay my taxes. If it was optional, if you knew how to use the law in your benefit, would you pay your taxes? No. So, everybody will criticize him, but everybody knows that you need a firm hand And also what the Bank of International Settlements said. The Bank of International Settlements did say, and it was a very good point, when the American markets sneeze, the world market catches a cold. It's true. The American citizens don't understand that their votes are basically, if the election is not rigged, the American citizens need to understand that their votes are not just impacting US citizens, but it's impacting everybody worldwide. Because there is one person that can stop wars and fix economies. And there is one person that will continue wars and watch the economy go down the toilet. And you know what those two people are. One is Trump, who will fix the economy, and essentially he will stop the wars. And then you have Kamala Harris, who will watch the economy go down the toilet and continue the wars. You can clip this video if you want and use it for factual information later in the future. If the election is some sort of way rigged and Kamala Harris does win, use this information as, I don't know, factual if you want in the future times. And me stating, you choose Kamala Harris, wars will continue and the economy will go down the toilet. You choose Donald Trump, wars will stop because everybody will respect the United States because they're scared of Trump, and the economy will be fixed. It's very simple. You can use this as factual information for later on in the future, as political information for later on in the future. If the elections aren't rigged. Can't speak for that one. Everything is manipulated in this world. Now, the next news on tonight's live show is regarding Michigan. Michigan pension funds. Information has came out that they're essentially going towards Bitcoin ETFs. And some investments have been made, but it was very silent on their investments. But before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section. By the way, if you have any questions, put it down inside the comment section. I'm reading everybody's comments one by one. So the digital ID will concede with the CBDC coming. Pretty much, yes. When does that autumn start in the US? Soon. I meant BTC conference in Nashville. Kennedy shared a very friendly pro-BTC vision and plan if elected. Yes, Kennedy is very pro-BTC, he definitely is. And I saw some segments of the Nashville, and I understood that you saw the Nashville event. Can the debt be absorbed during a switch? This is why they are still printing. Possibility, yes. The debt can be absorbed. It can be, if they wanted to. I missed the answer to why LAT pumped, and the reason why LAT was pumping is because they were doing some transactional basis based on their contracts and partnerships that they have going on. So it's just some test payments going on. Real payments, but between their contracts. Mr. T. Mr. Trump, in other words, a vote is not needed when the other leaders are manipulating our leader. There is no need for a war, and there is no resistance to one's behavior. Yes, I agree. Look, Scott, I agree with you, definitely. And I am a neutral party in this matter, but I agree with Scott as well. Look, neither people are great choices, but one can help, even though, his opinions might be straightforward, but one can help. Australia is heading towards a recession. Latest figures show. That's not good. Joe is worthless. Joe is worthless. I agree. Facts. None of the world leaders respected Trump. There were hot mics that caught it often. No, they did respect him. I mean, Kim Jong-un respected definitely Donald Trump when he landed. Kim Jong-un was a man that said if America comes towards his country, he will attack, or he will attack any other country. Trump flew over to North Korea, shook that man's hand, and put him in his place. The same man that said he will do anything to the United States, and he did nothing to the United States. Even when President Trump landed in his country, he respected Trump because he was scared of Trump. You see, Trump's the only man that will do these kinds of movements. There's a story from a general inside the United States. So there's an interview that I'll find that video and share it on the Telegram group, or I'll share it on X as well. But there's a video of someone from the United States government talking about what Trump did, which was, he said when he withdrew from Afghanistan, so when Trump withdrew completely from Afghanistan, he was sitting with the essentially the person in charge of Afghanistan's group. I'm not going to name what their group is, but the person in charge of the Afghanistan group. And Trump said that we're withdrawing from your country, but if you hurt or touch any American, I will end you. And then Trump handed this man a picture of his house in Afghanistan. And this man said, what is this? And Trump said, you know what it is, and you know what I'm capable of doing. There is not a single president in history who has made movements like that at all. On the basis of nobody respected them, maybe, but they definitely feared him. They definitely feared him. Many countries feared him. I can tell you from my perspective, so, I'm Persian, so I'm from Iran. And when Trump was in power, Iran was scared, genuinely scared. The Iranian government was genuinely scared of Trump. Right now, the Iranian government is incredibly scared of Trump actually getting into power, because Trump is the only person that can silence the Iranian government. And he did do that up to a certain extent after Trump was removed from presidency, but he did do that. So they might not respect Trump, but they definitely fear Trump. So I've told you from a perspective of essentially Kim Jong-un, a man that said he will do this and that to the United States, and Trump landed in his country and shook that man's hand and put Kim Jong-un in his place. The Iranian government are scared of Trump. I'm telling you from my own perspective, from my own country. And, so they might not respect him, but they definitely fear him. So on the basis of the world leaders not respecting him, they definitely feared him. The poor guy pays his tax. The poor pay for the tax service. The rich pay for the tax advice. Pretty much, I agree with that. But Scott, I agree with your points as well. But on the basis of they don't respect him, I agree. They didn't respect him. They feared him. As long as there is not another January 6th in the United States, we'll be okay. Joe will have, right now, the Iranian government is absolutely scared. Genuinely. If you, obviously, no one will understand, Farsi, in other words, the Persian language. But if you ever see, right now, recent news from Iran, they're absolutely scared. Absolutely. The Iranian government is absolutely, genuinely scared of Trump becoming into power, because they know that, their parading will come to an end. Joe will have another fall soon, and Kamala will have to be taken over. A world war may start, but a civil war can't be avoided with Trump. After he called him Rocket Man. I just did not like Trump being on the world stage, saying he trusted Putin over the American intelligence agencies. Fair enough. Now liked that move. I show you your house, and you get that message. Now like that move. I show you what. Yep. I agree with you. They did fear him, and I like that. Hence why they will eliminate him. Yeah. They fear him. He's the only man that will actually, show the United States power. Genuinely. In other president, any other presidential candidate, they won't use the United States power. They will, just talk about the United States power. Trump is a man that will actually show the world the United States power if he has to. And they know that he will. So they definitely fear him. And that's good for the world. A little bit of fear is good, because it sets people on the right path. And it makes people understand that this is wrong and this is right. And there should be a line between wrong and right. And in the world and the society we're living right now, and the economy that we're living right now, there's no wrong and right. It's just eat or be eaten. But when somebody like Trump comes around, he draws the line. This is wrong, this is right. And if you don't respect this is wrong, this is right, you will get the wrath of the United States on you. Michigan Pension Fund discloses a $6.6 million investment in Bitcoin ETFs. It's like E.F. Hutton. He talked and they listened. He just announced another rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, where he was. That Miles is why I like Trump. I'm not American, but this guy will not put up with BS and financially knows he's in and out to make things happen. No one else has the balls. I agree. No one else. Nobody else. There's not a politician out there that has kahunas. He's the only one with kahunas, I'll be honest. Now, Michigan pension funds have came out. There's a lot of pension funds right now, some information coming out as well, that are going towards Bitcoin ETFs, an asset that nobody wanted to touch a very long time ago. Bitcoin in general, or Bitcoin ETFs, is an asset that's been heavily, essentially, a lot of pension funds are going towards. One of them is Wisconsin. Over $100+ million of pension fund money has been invested in the Bitcoin ETFs. The other one is the city of Jersey, going towards pension funds, Bitcoin ETFs. And the other one that recent information has just revealed is Michigan. The state of Michigan retirement system reported investments in a spot Bitcoin exchange traded fund or ETF offered by ARC21 shares. And, obviously, till this day, governments will tell you, stay away from cryptocurrencies, stay away from Bitcoin. Bitcoin is bad for the economy. Bitcoin is bad for, electricity purposes and so on. And then you have pension funds, government pension funds and so on, going towards the very assets they will tell you to stay away from. In June 30, because you can't lie, when it's factual information on PDF documentations, especially its filings with the SEC. In a June 30th filing with the United States Securities Exchange Commission, Michigan State Pension Fund disclosed holding 110,000 shares of the ARC21 shares Bitcoin ETF under the ticker ARKB. The approximate value of the shares at the time of filing was roughly $6.6 million. Obviously, it's a lot more now. A small percentage of the funds, billions of dollars in assets. The filing suggested that Michigan was the third U.S. state to explore allocating a part of its pension funds towards crypto through exchange-traded funds since Bitcoin ETFs were approved in January. The third state inside the United States to be putting pension funds into Bitcoin ETFs. It's incredible. In May, the state of Wisconsin Investment Board reported a $164 million investment in spot Bitcoin ETFs offered by Grayscale and BlackRock. On July 25th, Jersey City Mayor Stephen hinted a 2% investment in Bitcoin ETFs by the city's pension funds. These are all, essentially, till this day still, some governments will tell you to stay away from cryptocurrencies. The United States, with all the innovation that's happening and the stifle that's happening as well at the same time from Gary Gensler, Elizabeth Warren, and people like Elizabeth Warren coming out and saying, Bitcoins used by criminals, Bitcoins essentially only purchased by criminals. So in Elizabeth Warren, in essentially Senator Elizabeth Warren's words, the Wisconsin state, the Jersey state, essentially Jersey City, and the Michigan state are criminals, apparently, because anybody that buys Bitcoin, in Senator Elizabeth Warren's words, is using Bitcoin for illicit activities. Anybody that goes towards Bitcoin is a criminal. So that means the state of essentially Michigan, Wisconsin, and Jersey are criminals, apparently, according to Senator Elizabeth Warren. Now, obviously, just for some clarification, Senator Elizabeth Warren does only have 2 brain cells left. Or she shares the exact same, essentially, IQ level as a goldfish. That could also be a possibility too. Now, cross-border Bitcoin payments, a top priority for Marathon Digital Bitcoin 2024. So Marathon Digital, essentially being one of the biggest Bitcoin mining institutions in the world. Their recent investment is about $100 million, which is a ridiculously high amount of number. They're investing $100 million into Bitcoin equipment and so many other ventures they're going towards. And they're also buying out their competition. There are 5 big, massive Bitcoin mining institutions, all based inside the United States, that moved over from China because China banned BTC a very long time ago. Now, put it all out to one side. The Marathon Digital company, which is absolutely massive, also the majority shareholder of Marathon Digital is Vanguard and BlackRock. Vanguard being the same company that tells people that they will never invest into Bitcoin or even introduce a Bitcoin ETF, because Vanguard says Bitcoin is not an asset they see, even though they're the majority shareholder of one of the biggest Bitcoin mining institutions in the world. Now, Marathon Digital is doing an interesting movement that nobody's talking about inside the crypto space. Cross-border payments on Bitcoin. Bitcoin miner Marathon Digital, the stock essentially name, MARA, is seeking a partnership with blockchain developers to build Bitcoin Layer 2 solutions for cross-border BTC payments. Julian, Marathon Digital's product lead for sidechains, said this at the Bitcoin 2024 conference in Nashville that's happening right now. Cross-border payments are the biggest use cases for blockchain, generally speaking, and especially for Bitcoin. According to Julian, who also contributes to the Andro Marathon's in-house Bitcoin Layer 2s, he said payments are at the top of my list of development priorities. Just to put perspective, I've always, since 2023, said the number one category in cryptocurrencies, is payments, is finance, is money. And then it's the rest of the categories in terms of, essentially data being second, and then AI, Web3, and so on, gaming, and so on and so on. I've always said number one category is money, it's finance, money going digital, crypto projects that are in that sector. So this being Julian's words, Marathon Digital, one of the biggest and wealthiest Bitcoin mining institutions in the world, he said he came out and essentially said on the top of his list, number one priority is the development of payments rather than any other category inside the blockchain space. In emerging markets, the average cost of sending money overseas is 8% to 10% of the transaction value, with the settlement often taking 3 to 4 days. According to Julian, by comparison, Bitcoin transfers usually settle in 10 minutes or less, and Bitcoin Layer 2s could be even faster, Julian said. He noted that for any payment solution to succeed, regulatory compliance is crucial and often at a cost. With any sort of use cases that we might encompass, regulation is top priority. Julian said, adding that if making sure every single license is in order means that the product roadmap extends from a month to a year, that's okay. As I've always said as well, even during the Ripple scenario, first green light is Ripple case, second green light is essentially regulations, and third green light is adoption. He's basically going on what I said, but he's basing that on Bitcoin regarding the green lights. Other jurisdictions, the high cost of compliance inside the United States should not discourage developers who are likely to find a more supportive environment in developing countries where cross-border payment solutions are most needed. Other jurisdictions, especially within emerging markets, tend to be a lot cheaper and a lot quicker to sign off on new payment systems because the regulators and the governments want a better cross-border payment solution than what is currently available. Julian essentially explained that beyond payments, tokenized real-world assets, which is also just a category under finance, a new avenue stream, are also among the top areas of focus for Marathon Digital. The Bitcoin miner is in the early stages of a plan to tokenize whiskey barrels inside the United States and also has partnered with real-world assets platforms to preserve French castles. Everything is going to go on the blockchain. Marathon Digital, one of the biggest corporations, essentially one of the biggest mining institutions in the world, is going towards tokenizations. They're going to be starting off a little bit small. They said they're going to be going towards tokenizing whiskey barrels. Now, keeping in mind, they have millions upon billions under their name, but they're going to be starting off with whiskey. Everything will become tokenized in the future. The Coke bottle that you would buy from your local supermarket will probably become tokenized in the future. It's just a new avenue stream. Marathon is among the largest corporate holders of BTC, with a treasury of some 20,000 coins worth upwards of $1 billion. It acquired around $100 million worth of BTC in the month of July alone. In the month of July alone, Marathon Digital acquired essentially $100 million. Also, something that I said a very long time ago, that's just been repeated again by Marathon Digital, is that I said this a long time ago. I said, people ask me, around me, and on social media, should I go for this stock? Should I go towards the stock market? Should I go towards the real estate market? Should I buy this new car? Is this a good investment, do you think? I said no to all of them. I said the only market you should be focused on essentially is blockchain. The crypto market is the only market you should be focused on right now. Because everything around you is going to be token. Essentially, everything around you is going to come on the blockchain, is what I said at that time, when the word tokenization was never about. The word tokenization, when I was talking about these kind of things, was very minuscule and probably essentially at that level didn't even exist. It came on later on, tokenization. But when I was talking about it, I said everything is going to go on the blockchain. Everything around is going to go on. I said the stock market you're thinking about entering, every stock is going to become tokenized. I said the house you want to buy will become tokenized. It's going on blockchain. The car you want to buy is going to go on the blockchain. It's going to become tokenized. Art will become essentially tokenized on the blockchain as well. Derivatives markets, assets, securities, anything with value. And in this case, whiskey bottles is about to become tokenized as well. Coke bottles will become tokenized. Fanta bottles. You see how ridiculous it is. But what I'm trying to essentially said a long time ago is the only market you should be focused on is the crypto market. The crypto market is this big. I said this. These are my exact words. My videos are on, essentially, my old videos are on TikTok when I used to do live on TikTok. And now, because of freedom of speech, I do the live shows on X and YouTube. And I said that the crypto market is this big, if everybody remembers. I said the crypto market is this big. But I said this small market is about to essentially revolutionize every other market space around it. I said the crypto market is this big, the stock market is this big, the real estate market is this big, the automotive market, the car market, the manufacturers and so on is this big market space. The crypto market is this big. And I said this small market space is about to revolutionize everything around it. And I said the only market space you should be focused on is the crypto category. I said this when the word tokenization didn't even exist around us. Now, Federal Reserve is the next news we're going to talk about tonight's live show. Federal Reserve ends all enforcement actions against crypto bank Silvergate. Now, the reason why the Federal Reserve has ended the enforcement actions against the bank Silvergate, which is basically a crypto bank, is because they made them liquidate everything. You see, Silvergate was a crypto bank, a very pro-crypto bank. But everybody else around them didn't like Silvergate. So JP Morgan was pretty much against it. Every other bank was against it. And the Federal Reserve wouldn't open up their books to Silvergate Bank. And if they don't open up their books to Silvergate Bank, it means that Silvergate Bank inside the United States couldn't operate with any other bank around them because they're not connected to the system. Silvergate decided to sue the Federal Reserve essentially to open up their books to them so they can work as a bank and operate alongside other banks. The judge said the first time around, the judge said, yes, you should open up your books to them. And then for a very oddly reason, the judge came back and said, no, they shouldn't open up their books to them. And obviously, JP Morgan and any other bank inside the United States don't want some random bank coming in and taking a piece of their pie. You're entering the banking world, which is just full of crooks. Let's just be honest with ourselves. So if you're entering the banking world, you thought for a second you can go against, essentially JP Morgan or any other bank out there and become this big crypto bank in the future. Of course, they're going to stifle you and make you trip up where you're standing from and make you liquidate your assets and make you evaporate completely from the surface of the planet, which is basically what happened. So the title being essentially Federal Reserve ends all enforcement actions against crypto bank Silvergate is because they made them get rid of them. The Federal Reserve Board has officially ended its enforcement actions against Silvergate Bank and its parent company, Silvergate Capital Corporation. This decision comes after Silvergate completed its liquidation and wind down plan. The enforcement action in place since May 2023 was to make sure that Silvergate would close down in a way that protected depositors. Silvergate has since repaid all depositors and no longer operates as a bank. Silvergate had become important for cryptocurrency companies, offering services to facilitate money transfers between crypto firms and other institutions. They were offering services that everybody wanted to use inside the blockchain space. And the other banks didn't like that. So obviously they ran to Daddy, which Daddy in this case being Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve came down on them. And then the judge, first time around, essentially made a good call, which said the Federal Reserve should open up their books to you. But about 2 weeks later, the judge changed his mind. No apparent reason. And he didn't give essentially any sort of reasonings of why he just changed his mind. But apparently, I could tell you why the judge changed his mind, because the other bankers put a little bit of pressure on the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve put a little bit of pressure on the judge. Or the bankers put pressure on the judge. Either way, somebody got pressured. That judge changed his opinion in a matter of 2 weeks, and Silvergate became no longer a bank. Even though it was the first essentially pro-crypto bank, offered many crypto services to businesses. And it would have become a major bank in the future if it continued this path. But obviously they stopped it. The downfall of Silvergate. The troubles for Silvergate began with the bearish run that began in late 2021. The crypto market peaked at around $3 trillion in November 2021, but lost over 2/3 of its value by December 2022. This massive decline put a lot of pressure on the businesses related to cryptocurrencies, including Silvergate. Things got much worse when the collapse of FTX in November essentially happened in 2022. The collapse led to a massive withdrawal of deposits from Silvergate. It wasn't that massive. In the fourth quarter in 2022, Silvergate saw its deposits fall by more than half. It also wasn't that true. To cope with this, the bank had to sell long-term bonds at a loss. In January 2023, Silvergate reported a $1 billion loss for the fourth quarter of 2022. As Silvergate's situation deteriorated, it faced increased scrutiny from regulators and lawmakers. The bank essentially delayed its annual 10K filings with the SEC on March 1st, 2023, warning that it might not be able to continue as a going concern. This announcement caused major clients like Coinbase, Crypto.com, and Paxos to pull their deposits at the time of its 2022 third quarter report. More than 90% of Silvergate's total deposits were from crypto clients. Another issue was the asset liability mismatch. Silvergate had invested a large portion of its deposits into long-term securities, particularly in US Treasury bonds. When the crypto companies started withdrawing their deposits en masse, the bank had to sell these assets at a loss to meet liquidity demands. The Federal Reserve's aggressive interest rate hikes in 2022 also played a role. These hikes reduced the value of Silvergate's long-term bonds holdings and increased the cost of fundings. From all of that pressure, they also had the issue of the Federal Reserve not willing to make them a bank at all and cancelled all their dreams of becoming a crypto bank. So when they were going through the pressure of the bank from essentially the bear market, the Federal Reserve decided to not give them a helping hand and decided to essentially bash on them further, take them to court, and not open up their books to them. If they did open up their books to them, they could have operated as a bank, which means they could have worked with other banks and essentially helped their way back to the top. But when they were down, the Federal Reserve decided to push them further down. So they can't come back up anymore. Now, Grayscale. Grayscale receives an SEC note for their Bitcoin Mini Trust ETF. Now, their Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust Mini ETF is basically Grayscale offering a Bitcoin ETF at a much more discounted rate on regarding fees. You see, Grayscale was the manipulator of Bitcoin ETFs. Grayscale was the same company, essentially, that sued the SEC for not letting Bitcoin ETFs happen. And then Grayscale won. The judges ruled in favor of Grayscale, and Bitcoin ETFs became a thing. And in January, Bitcoin ETFs got green-lighted, as Eric from Bloomberg ETF Special Analyst said that it would happen, and everybody else said it won't happen. But Eric was essentially the man that said it's going to happen, and he was right on the target. And at the same time Eric said this was going to happen, another person, Nicholas, which was also a JP Morgan analyst, he came out and said that Grayscale will be the downfall of the Bitcoin ETFs right at the beginning, and then things will pick back up. It's because Grayscale created a Bitcoin ETF with a 2.5% fee. Now, why is that bad? Well, because Grayscale had the biggest Bitcoin essentially portfolio, the biggest portfolio out of all corporations right at the beginning. And Bitcoin, essentially their clients' Bitcoins that they were holding for, they told all their clients to lock their Bitcoins with them for about 6 months. So this is 6 months before Grayscale suing essentially the SEC for their Bitcoin ETFs. So 6 months before that, they locked everybody's Bitcoins in. And when the Bitcoin ETF news happened and it got green lighted, the Bitcoin ETF started, Grayscale unlocked everybody's Bitcoins. So everybody can have, all their clients can have access to their Bitcoins in Grayscale. And because Grayscale was offering a 2.5% fee on purpose, everybody decided to sell their Bitcoins that they were holding with Grayscale and not transfer over into Grayscale's ETF because they were offering a 2.5% fee when BlackRock was offering a 0.25% fee, 0.25% fee. And everybody else was offering 0.15% fees and 0.20% fees. There was one ETF corporation that was offering 0 fees for a whole year. Grayscale was offering 2.5% fee, knowing that they hold the most amount of clients on Bitcoin, in terms of Bitcoin, on their portfolios. So they offered 2.5% fee, manipulated the hell out of the markets, and a lot of people were confused. Bitcoin ETFs are good news. Why is the market going down? It was because of Grayscale. But then obviously the market rebalanced itself when it essentially slowly re-entered into BlackRock's ETF, now being one of the biggest ETFs out there, which is BlackRock's ETF. Now you might be thinking, well, this is bad for Grayscale. Why did Grayscale do this? Well, it's because Grayscale also owns shares in BlackRock, and BlackRock owns shares in Grayscale, and Grayscale owns shares in Goldman Sachs, and Goldman Sachs owns shares in essentially Grayscale, and then it just goes in one big circle. Goldman Sachs, Vanguard, BlackRock, they're all in one big circle. And essentially they're just mocking everybody around them with their manipulation. They all own shares in each other. It's just one big circle. So that was just nice little manipulation there to get people worried and out of the market while these corporations enter right at the beginning. Now, on the basis of the Ethereum ETF as well, why isn't Ethereum just skyrocketing? Why is it not happening? It's because also Grayscale at the exact same time having quite a big portfolio in Ethereum and is also offering a 2.5% fee again on their 2.5% fee on their Ethereum ETF. And once again, the locks have came off and their clients on, obviously, they have brain cells. They're not going to be entering a 2.5% fee on an ETF. And that's why Ethereum is not skyrocketing. The exact same thing, which is basically history repeating itself, happening again. And the reason why I've just told you that story, so I can just update you quickly, because their mini trust, which is something that Grayscale should have offered since day one, is the one with the, essentially the normal fee structure, which is everybody else. But they're calling it their Bitcoin mini ETF, which has the normal fee structure that matches everybody else's fee structures around 0.20, 0.25%. And Grayscale also has an Ethereum mini ETF trust as well. And that's also got a normal fee structure as well. But their normal Ethereum ETF has also got a 2.5%, just like the beginnings of the Bitcoin ETF. History will always repeat itself, no matter what. And on that story, Grayscale Investments has received the green light from the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission, SEC, for its new product, the Grayscale Bitcoin Mini Trust, expected to open for investments next Wednesday. The fund is designed to offer investors a cheaper solution than the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, the normal Bitcoin ETF that Grayscale has, that used to manipulate the markets. This one's the cheaper option, which they could have offered since day one, but they didn't. And if they did offer that since day one, we would have never had the downfall of Bitcoin right at the beginning of ETFs. SEC approval for Grayscale's Bitcoin Mini Trust ETF. According to Nate Garcia, the president of ETF Store, Grayscale has been given the green light for the SEC to launch, from the SEC, to launch its Bitcoin Mini Trust ETF, which will greatly expand its product offerings. This new ETF is planned to start the following week with the record set date for this Tuesday. It is also a cheap investment option with fees as low as 15 base points. This decision echoes the previous launch of Grayscale's Ethereum Mini Trust that also offers a lower fee for investors. Like the Grayscale Mini Ethereum Trust, The management fee of Grayscale's Bitcoin mini trust is also set at 15 basis points. This similar reduction in fees for both Bitcoin and Ethereum products indicates a shift in Grayscale's approach to pricing, which can be attributed to the increasing pressure from the market for cheaper crypto investment vehicles. Grayscale has sought to make its investment trusts more attractive in the face of competition by making the fee structure of its Ethereum products similar to that of its Bitcoin product. Just, basic manipulation. And, as I said, it's just one big circle. Grayscale, Grayscale, BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, they all own shares, Vanguard, they all own shares in each other. And, when they manipulate it, we get damaged, they profit. As usual, history will always repeat itself. But anyways, the next news on tonight's live show is regarding this whole Kamala Harris situation, which is how would potentially Kamala Harris presidency affect Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies? Is it going to be positive or is it going to be negative? Now, before I read you that, let's go inside the comment section first. If you have any questions, put it down inside the comment section. I'm reading everybody's comments one by one. It is a live show right now. We are live as usual. And let's see what's inside the comment section. Are all coins going to pump after the case or just XRP? Most coins will. Elizabeth is just an average American. I saw her drink a beer on TV. Elizabeth is about as smart as Kamala. There is one criminal, and it's her, Elizabeth Warren. And they think that we believe she does not hold cryptocurrencies. BS. Also, there was an article with some data that I didn't get, and I can't, so I gotta look for it again. But there was some data on that article which showed that Gary Gensler, of how much Gary Gensler made during his day one into basically chairmanship of the SEC until now. And Gary Gensler has made just about $100 million plus. Gary Gensler, the same man that's been stopping essentially innovation inside the United States since day one of entering, as the SEC chairman and so on, until now, he has made $100 million plus. $100 million plus he's made, Gary Gensler. Is that because of his wages are too high, or is that because Gary Gensler has somebody feeding him? Now, how would the potential Kamala Harris presidency affect Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies? Not good is the answer. It's because we're going to go to all CBDC, and I'll tell you why. US Vice President Kamala Harris has surprisingly emerged as a likely Democratic Party presidential nominee after Sleepy Joe Biden, dropped out of the race last Sunday. Till this day, we don't know if Joe Biden knows that Joe Biden has dropped out. This shift has sparked a variety of rumors about how a Harris administration could shape the future of Bitcoin and the broader cryptocurrency industry. With Kamala Harris, odds of winning the upcoming election has risen to 29% after receiving the support of top Democrats, interested parties in the crypto markets, and essentially the crypto markets are eagerly observing whether there are any signs that could indicate the potential impact of Kamala Harris's administration on the industry. Analysts from cryptocurrency exchanges Bitfinex state that investors are currently adapting a cautious stance and are waiting for clearer signals regarding Kamala Harris' specific policies on cryptocurrencies. For now, an understanding of Harris's potential approach could be gleaned from from their previous positions on consumer protection and financial regulation, which means that Kamala Harris is going to be as useless as Gary Gensler or Sleepy Joe towards cryptocurrencies. Kamala Harris's political position suggests a focus on consumer protection and financial regulations, which could mean continued scrutiny of crypto markets. analysts say. Analysts also noted that Kamala Harris is likely to continue the Biden administration cautious approach towards cryptocurrencies, which may not benefit the market much. Since Kamala Harris is part of the current administration, we can assume that the policies of the last 4 years will continue in the next term, said U-Holder Market Chief Roslin. However, Roslin also acknowledged that there might be slight shifts in favor of crypto due to potential pre-election promises. As a result of competition with the Republican candidate who is actively seeking support from crypto enthusiasts, there may be a minor shift in the favor of crypto due to potential pre-election promises, he added. Look, if the United States still essentially stays against cryptocurrencies, that instantly just means CBDCs are coming. Look, if the United States is against cryptocurrencies, that means they're pro-CBDCs. And once CBDCs get introduced, and then they'll, be a bit more lenient on cryptocurrencies because they got people onto CBDCs. So if Kamala Harris is going to be, cautious and all about regulations, which means more scrutiny towards cryptocurrencies, which most likely is the case, it's because Kamala Harris is not a leader, she's a listener. There's a difference between a leader and a listener. A leader would choose based on his own opinions, based on factual data, and make movements. A listener will just basically read from a piece of paper and essentially gets told what to say and what to do. And Kamala Harris is not a leader, she's a listener, which means, as I said yesterday, she's an easy choice. Not for people with brain cells. She's an easy choice for essentially people that want to control, that want to rig, which is the World Economic Forum, or the Bank of International Settlements, or the International Monetary Fund, or the FSB. Quite a lot of organizations around the world want this world to go towards CBDCs and essentially social credit systems, something that was also designed by the Bill Gates and Melinda Foundation that was announced in the World Economic Forum 2024. Now, putting all that to one side, Kamala Harris, basically, if she is chosen, it means that we're going to continue on this path and that CBDCs are headed towards the United States. If Trump is chosen, that means no CBDCs. Very, very simple. But obviously, we know that the United States will have CBDCs like the rest of the world because it's not optional at all. And they will do anything to remove Trump. And I said this as well, worse comes worse, they will just rig the election. Because they will do everything they can to control that man. If they can't control Trump, they will try to, they tried once, they'll probably try again. If they can't try again, they'll just rig the election. Either way, they won't let him win. Because he's hard to control. And, they want somebody easy to control. As I said, Kamala Harris is not a leader. She's a listener. There's a difference. Now, Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor ups Bitcoin price forecast to $13 million in a mega bullish keynote. Michael Saylor's prediction, by the way. Michael Saylor is also doing a massive conference. He did a massive speech at the Bitcoin National Conference that's going on right now. And he predicts and forecasts that Bitcoin is going to reach $13 million per coin by the year 2045. Apologies, everyone. Before we go through that news, just inside the comment section first. Could Silvergate might have made it in the different country? With that analogy, to get away from the huge scamming the US provides for big banks, yes, Silvergate could have made it in different countries. If Silvergate went and operated in a different country, they could have had a chance of becoming a massive crypto bank somewhere down the road. But the banking world is very rigged. Too much competition in the banking world, too much manipulation in the banking world, too much corruption in the banking world. It's a very dirty game, the banking world. I put that article in the moderators group the other day or something like that. JP, thank you for that. Does Microsoft have a coin or token? No. Microsoft does not have a coin or a token as of yet, but maybe somewhere down the line they could introduce a token or a coin. If they do, I'll let everybody know on this live show, definitely. But for the time being, no, Microsoft does not have a coin or a token. So, Michael Saylor, the billionaire, essentially, let's just say. Michael Saylor, the outspoken co-founder of business intelligence company MicroStrategy, predicted that Bitcoin will reach $13 million per coin by 2045 during a mega bullish keynote speech at the Bitcoin 2024 conference in Nashville that's happening today. Michael Saylor's forecast, which upgrades his $10 million estimate that he said in June, is only on the basis case. He said that it could be a $3 million bear case. A $3 million bear case for Bitcoin per coin. It could be a $49 million bull case for Bitcoin per coin. $49 million. According to Michael Saylor, he argued, essentially, he urged the listeners at the Nashville, Tennessee event to become triple maxis. Bitcoin bulls. He said, you financed the house for Bitcoin. He said, you finance the house for Bitcoin. You buy Bitcoin. You flip all your assets to Bitcoin. And then you move to a cheap tax jurisdiction where you actually can avoid some taxes and invest an extra 50 grand in Bitcoin. What an absolute moron. Honestly, don't do that. If anybody tells you ever to sell your house and, sell your house and put it on Bitcoin and, flip your assets and put it on Bitcoin and move to a country or jurisdiction that's cheap to live in and eat tin canned foods, or in this case, cat food to survive, and then put that extra money that you have for, water and toiletries on Bitcoin. What a moron. Don't ever do that. And the idea of becoming a triple maxi Bitcoin, don't do that either. Okay. I've always said this and I'll always say it again. Don't ever treat cryptocurrencies as if it's a religion or a football team. Big mistake you can do. Okay, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Don't ever treat cryptocurrencies as a religion or some sort of a football team where it's just your blood and bread and you have to do this. No, it's just numbers on a screen. Makes you money, makes you money. Doesn't make you money, you know what to do. And if you're holding on a long-term basis based on contracts and factual information and data, good. Then that means you have a positive outcome in the future. But don't sell your soul, don't sell your house, don't sell your car, and don't live in a cartoon, essentially in a cotton box to buy cryptocurrencies. And don't become a triple maxi. This man, Michael Saylor, not taking anything away from him. He's an absolute intelligent man, absolutely wealthy man. But even intelligent, incredibly intelligent and wealthy people still make mistakes. This is the same man that came out on a Bitcoin conference, not time ago, not long ago. He came out on a Bitcoin conference and he said, Bitcoin is the only legitimate asset and the only ETF. There is never going to be an Ethereum ETF. There's never going to be a Solana ETF. There's never going to be an XRP ETF, is what he said. And he said, I am a Bitcoin maxi. About a week later, we had Ethereum ETFs. And when he said these things, I also called him a moron then. But I also said he's an intelligent man and a wealthy man. But also sometimes intelligent and wealthy people make mistakes. They're human. And I said that somebody like him, he's blindsided. Don't become a maxi anything. You become blindsided. If you love the technology of blockchain, I understand that. But don't become blindsided either. I build on blockchain. I have a blockchain startup company. I work with founders and executives and, essentially VC companies. It's called CoinMove.one. Went to real estate and automotive. We revolutionized a lot of things in blockchain, bringing real estate market into it. But I love the blockchain. I love the technology about it. But the ideology of, living in a carton box, eating cat food to buy cryptocurrencies, don't do that to yourself. And the ideology of becoming a triple maxi is just stupid. And it needs to stop. Because he made this mistake once by becoming a maxi and thinking Bitcoin is the only way forward. And then we had Ethereum ETFs. We're going to have XRP ETFs. We're going to have Solana ETFs. Believe it or not, we're going to have AVAX ETFs. We're going to have Cardano ETFs. We're even going to have somewhere probably down the line, AI ETFs and even meme ETFs probably. Because they're all new avenue streams to make money on, which is what this world spins on. So, yeah, don't become a triple maxi, because then you're just completely brainwashed. So, what's the results? A net worth of some $214 million. According to Michael Saylor, he recommends a similar strategy for corporations and nation states. For Saylor, all physical capital, everything from stocks and bonds to Ferraris and Miami Beach real estates, are subject to the laws of this, including anthropology or energy's tendencies to over time. He said it's diluting the value of physical assets. It's sucking the capital, the energy out of them. Even in the best case scenario, such as the United Kingdom's Crown Estate, which has been held by the royal family since the 1066, physical assets might last 1,000 years. But probably about 50 to 75 years is the best you're going to get. There's a reason it's called Earth and not heaven. Bitcoin is the exception, he noted. He's comparing Bitcoin to heaven. I mean, do you see the amount of brainwash? Not saying Bitcoin is a bad asset in any sort of a way. I mean, it started this whole wave in any sort of a way. Bitcoin is a great asset in its own aspects. As a reserve asset, it's great. Payment's not so great. Slow and expensive. But reserve is great. Holds some sort of value, even though it is quite volatile. It's not that volatile anymore because too many companies are holding. Companies don't tend to sell, unlike the real estate. I mean, unlike the retail section. But he's comparing Bitcoin to heaven. Bitcoin is the exception, he noted. Bitcoin is immortal. And it is the solution to our economic dilemma. Bitcoin is not immortal. According to Michael Saylor, who added essentially that the cryptocurrencies is not in the physical world and has infinite lifespans. MicroStrategy is one of the world's largest public holders of Bitcoin. As of June 20th, MicroStrategy held a total of 226,000 plus BTC. BTC acquired roughly $8.33 billion of Bitcoin he's essentially holding at an average price that he brought it at 36,798 per BTC. But he's comparing Bitcoin to heaven, and he's saying Bitcoin is immortal. I don't think he knows what the word immortal means, because it isn't. Nothing is immortal. Now, the next news on tonight's live show is U.S. Senate Banking Committee. The U.S. Senate Banking Committee senator talks about Bitcoin. And this is in a recent interview as well. Before we go through his perspective, let's go start a conversation. Does Microsoft have a coin? No, I'm pretty sure Microsoft is involved with Viot. They are. Microsoft is involved with quite a lot of blockchain projects. They're heavily involved with quite a lot of blockchain projects. They've invested into quite a lot of blockchain projects, into some startup blockchain companies as well, and some startup AI projects. And on the basis of Microsoft having their own coin or token, they don't have any. What's the difference between reserve BTC and shorting BTC? Reserve BTC is basically holding, and shorting BTC is basically betting against it to go down. In a very simple word, will we be able to buy gold and silver with CBDCs? No, they won't let you buy gold or silver with CBDCs. Maybe at the beginning if they wanted to, but in reality, no, they won't. They possibly could and they possibly couldn't. But the thing is, with CBDCs, they're programmable, essentially assets, programmable currencies, which means they could put seize, freeze, which is something that happens in traditional banking systems. When you tell people they can freeze and seize you on CBDCs, people go, no, that's not possible. The bank can't seize and freeze me. That's not, that's against the law. They can't do that. But then when you remind them that in Canada, when essentially the truckers were protesting and Canada essentially froze and seized their bank accounts, it's something that happens in traditional finance. So it's just much more easier on CBDCs to freeze and seize people's assets. or their accounts in this case. And regarding expiry dates, it's also that's going to be happening as well, because there is proof on that matter as well. So with all that things that's going around on CBDCs, let's see how it plays out, if they'll let you do that or not. Mouse, please explain why we all are investing in what you have taught us since I've joined in 2022 December, and all these institutions are buying Bitcoin ETFs. It doesn't make sense to me. Good question, I'll tell you now. Okay, so Freedom Favor's question. Miles, please explain why we are all investing in what you have taught us, based on his own research and my research, since I've joined in 2022 December, and all of these institutions are buying Bitcoin ETFs. It doesn't make sense to me. It's based on PDF documentations. And the reason why these institutions are, on paper buying Bitcoin ETFs is because Bitcoin ETFs is available to them. And with Bitcoin ETFs, they're not operating in gray areas in any sort of ways within the laws. An ETF is approved by the SEC. So it's all within the law, all legal, and therefore it's easy for them to purchase and keep as an asset on the reserve side. And regarding XRP, it doesn't have an ETF, and on that regulation basis, it is quite scattered. And the reason why institutions are buying Bitcoin ETFs now, they're not essentially emptying themselves in the Bitcoin ETFs, they're just buying it as an asset to keep it on the sidelines. When XRP ETFs do get launched, they will be running towards it. But Solana ETFs essentially gets launched as well, they're going to be running towards it as well, but more towards the XRP side. And on the basis of essentially why it doesn't make sense to you now, it will make sense to you later on when you realize of the capabilities based on PDF contracts. Because I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you want to know the success of a crypto project, it's very easy. Documentations. A success of a crypto project isn't, especially, depends on what category it's in. If it's in a gaming category, then sure, based on some people's perspectives and also their contracts. But on the finance category, it's based on PDF documentations. The success of a crypto project is based on PDF contracts, on developments, actual documentations, not rumors in any sort of a way. So based on PDF documentations, XR, or Ripple in that sense, Ripple has the most amount of contracts, they've acquired the most amount of businesses, and they've also acquired the most amount of licensings. So once this case essentially gets dropped, and which essentially stifled their growth, but even stifling their growth, they were able to keep themselves within the top 10 while getting sued by the SEC. Keep themselves within the top 10 while getting sued by the SEC, missing bull markets, still remaining in the top 10, acquire more licenses, acquire more contracts, and acquire more businesses than the other crypto project out there. So what I'm trying to say is, it doesn't make sense to you now, it will make sense to you later. But all you've got to understand is PDF contracts. That's all you need to understand. It will make sense to you later on. Have I been wrong so far? The answer to that question is no. And PDFs don't lie. People lie, essentially. Rumors are lies, and speculations are also lies. But PDF documentations aren't lies. And it's also something that most people don't look towards. I was asking because if we can buy gold and silver with CBDCs and sell them for crypto, would that be a way not to get locked out of crypto? And when we own CBDCs, which is a good point, but we'll see as time goes by. And yeah, free and forever, it won't make sense to you now. It should make sense to you now, but if it doesn't, it will make sense to you later. And also remember one thing. Every asset inside the crypto world is pretty much designed for a different purpose. So you would have Bitcoin not being a payment token. Bitcoin is not a payment token in any sort of a way. And the Lightning Network is not doing too great either. So Bitcoin is a reserve asset. So they're buying it as a reserve asset. XRP, they're going to buy it because it's going to be used for transaction purposes and also essentially tokenization purposes. Ethereum is going to be purchased because of their smart contract capabilities. Every asset has a purpose, and they're going to work alongside each other. As I said previously as well, as also essentially Brad has mentioned from Ripple, and all the key factors and CEOs and directors and board members have also mentioned as well. But every asset has some sort of a purpose, a key purpose that's going to be used for it. Some assets in the crypto space will be used for data. XRP is not going to be used for data purposes, but some assets will be used for data purposes. Some assets will be used for tokenization purposes. Some assets will be used for essentially payment purposes, finance purposes. Some assets will be used for reserve assets, in other words. Every asset will have some sort of a purpose, and there'll also be the useless category as well inside the crypto space, which is quite a lot of tokens are useless, absolutely useless. But don't think to yourself, even for a second, that every company is buying Bitcoin ETFs and that is it. It's just Bitcoin all the way. It isn't. Bitcoin is a reserve asset. They're buying it because they can keep it as a reserve asset. They're not going to use Bitcoin. They're just going to keep it as a reserve asset. The same way they're buying gold and just keep it as a reserve asset, or buying silver and keep it as a reserve asset. Other assets, for example, when they buy XRP, they're going to be using it for transactional purposes. Or when they buy XLM, transactional purposes. When they buy XDC, transactional purposes. When they buy Ethereum, smart contract capabilities. And also what Brad said a very long time ago, which is essentially XRP will become, the Google of the blockchain space, where everything will connect to it. A very simple term, which it will become. And also, according to the recent document that was released on Ripple's own website of how exactly they're going to be using XRP and how Ripple Payments does utilize XRP, and how XRP, they laid it out step by step, and I reviewed it step by step on this live show as well, how they're going to be exactly using XRP. And they have access to around 80 markets around the world, and so on and so on. But every crypto has its own purpose. And also the useless category inside the crypto space as well. But every crypto has its own purpose. Bitcoin is a reserve asset. They're buying it as a reserve asset. They're not buying it for transactional purposes. So if it doesn't make sense to you now, it should make sense to you later. But it should already make sense to you now, to be fairly honest. The contracts are there to prove it. Okay, you just explained it perfectly. Thanks, Miles. No problem, free and forever. Not reserve as BTC, but what's the difference between the new reserve BTC and shorting? If you're shorting BTC, essentially you're betting against it to go down. A very simple term. If you're shorting an asset, you're essentially betting for it to go down based on some speculation, or because it's essentially buy the rumor, sell the news type of situation. Or you just estimating the market will go down based on your own data or microeconomics. But you're shorting the asset, in other words. If you're buying for reserves purposes, you're not shorting it, you're keeping it. Now, US Senate Banking Committee member senator talks about Bitcoin in a recent interview with Squashbox. Senator Tim Scott, ranking member of the Senate Banking Committee, shared his thoughts on a number of topics, including the state of 2024 elections. Sorry about that, everyone. Oh, the screen froze for a second. It's because my iPhone is running out of charge. There we go. Shoot back to normal. So, as I was saying, Senator Scott emphasized the importance of America's leadership in the future of Bitcoin and other digital assets. He criticized the Biden administration and the SEC for being anti-Bitcoin and vowed to spark innovation in America if he becomes chairman of the Senate Banking Committee. Scott argued that regulations should not be oppressive and that the United States should avoid pushing innovation abroad due to the rigid regulatory policies. The speech also touched upon the 2024 presidential elections and policy changes of key figures. When asked about the former President Trump's change of heart on Bitcoin, Scott said Vice President Kamala Harris should also be given such a latitude, given her past stance on issues like the ISE, private health insurance, and franking. Essentially, Scott in this matter, Senator Tim Scott, he's banking himself, essentially becoming a member of the banking committee, and he shared that his top priorities will be cryptocurrencies if he's chosen for that role, and that he said he's going to bring innovation inside the United States And, in his words also, Tim Scott, ranking member of the Senate Banking Committee, shared his thoughts on a number of topics, including the Senate of the 2024 elections, the Republican Party's economic priorities, and the evolving landscape of cryptocurrency markets. And in his words, if he is chosen for that career path, he's going to be very, very pro-crypto, bring so much innovation inside the United States that's been stifled so far by quite a lot of members in that matter. Now, Ripple CLO. Ripple CLO donates $300,000 in XRP to Donald Trump. So Stewart, which is essentially the chief legal officer of Ripple Labs, Stewart, has contributed $300,000 in XRP to Donald Trump's presidential campaign. According to a CNBC report, the donation was made on June 11, 2024, and became public just yesterday. Notably, Stewart recently attended a Trump fundraising event hosted by venture investor David Sachs in San Francisco. Potential motives behind the Ripple CLO's donation. The transaction involved Stewart sending 624,000 XRP to Trump's campaign, which essentially was converted to the stablecoin USDC, reflecting an exchange rate of approximately 0.48 cents per XRP. Thus, Trump does not hold any XRP anymore. However, the conversion was standard action. President Trump's campaign has a standard procedure to convert all received cryptocurrencies to USDC, stated James Delamore, a former analyst of Fox News. This contribution comes at a time when Trump has notably shifted to a pro-crypto stance, which might have influenced Stewart's decision to donate. However, unlike the Workman twins, Stewart has not publicly disclosed his reasonings for this contribution. Ripple has been embroiled in legal disputes with the U.S. Exchange Commission, SEC, led by Chairman Gary Gensler, for over 3 years and a half. There is a general belief that Trump, if re-elected, would replace the SEC chairman with a pro-crypto advocate. Such a change could fulfill a strategic purpose behind Stewart's donation to support the replacement of Gary Gensler. With a new chairman, the introduction of pro-crypto legislations and clear regulations could become more likely, potentially affecting Ripple's ongoing legal dispute with the SEC favorably. It's convincible that under Trump's administration, the new SEC might either drop the case against Ripple or avoid escalating it to higher courts in the event of unfavorable rulings. A Trump presidency thus paints a positive future for Ripple, possibly allowing the company to operate in the US without restrictions and expand to the deployment of the XRP-based services in the United States. The crypto industry unites for Trump. The Ripple CLO joins a long list of donors for the crypto industry for Trump. The broader crypto community is rallying behind Trump, whose campaign has raised significant amounts from the sector. From April 1st to June 30th, Trump's 47th joint fundraising committees gathered over $118 million, with $4 million coming in various cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. High-profile donors, including crypto billionaires Tyler and Cameron Wickens and BitGo CEO Mike. Trump is slated to further engage with crypto communities with a keynote address at this Tennessee event that's going on right now. And Brian Hughes, essentially a Trump campaign aide, highlighted the significance of the crypto support to CNBC. He said crypto innovators and others in the technology sector are under attack from Kamala Harris and the Democrats. President Trump is ready to encourage American leadership in this and other emerging technologies. It's very simple, as I said. Kamala Harris, pro-CBDC, Trump, pro-crypto. Now, on the topic of CBDCs, Brazil's central bank is going to be launching an AI-integrated super app featuring CBDCs by 2025. Now, yesterday I was having a conversation on this live regarding Philippines. So Philippines came out with the announcement yesterday. They're coming out with CBDCs in 2029. I said that's absolute lies. They're not going to be coming out in 2029. It's more like 2025 or latest 2026. Mainly because, and I said they lie to you because they want people to think that they have a lot of time before they go into CBDCs. So that means they will enter crypto later on or never enter crypto, which means they get trapped in CBDCs. Now, I said the same thing essentially about Brazil a very long time ago as well. Brazil, a very long time ago, on this live show, I revealed that they came out and said they're going to be introducing CBDCs or coming out with CBDCs in 2035, is what Brazil said. I said Brazil's lying. They're going to come out around 2024, 2025, latest. I said whoever does a launch in 2024 in CBDCs, whichever country, my exact words were, whichever country doesn't launch in CBDCs in 2024 is going to be launching in 2025. And in Philippines' case, let's say latest 2026. But Brazil was one of the countries that said 2035. And I said they're lying. And then they said 2030. I said they're still lying. It's because they're trying to make people think they have a lot of time. Anyways, fast forward to today, and Brazil's coming out in 2025 with their CBDCs. Who figures? Banco Central do Brazil. Brazil's central bank has announced its intentions to develop a super app that will integrate artificial intelligence and the nation's central bank digital currency, CBDC, known as DREX. The initiative, targeting completion by 2025, aims to streamline digital financial services. Especially, it plans to incorporate instant payment methods like PIX and leverage AI technologies similar to OpenAI ChatGPT. Central Bank President Roberto outlined the visions at the Blockchain Rio Forum. So Roberto highlighted through the analysis already conducted on cryptocurrencies and digital payments. He emphasized the need for a unified platform that enhances financial, in conclusion, security and convenience for Brazilian citizens. Furthermore, he envisions a future where multiple banking apps are replaced by a single banking app. Comprehensive super app that essentially aggregates financial data and use to AI to offer a personalized financial service. Thinking about what a financial service aggregator of the future would look like, we already designed this some time ago, and it was a shock. But we thought about what the financial marketplace would like. He explained the super app is expected to consolidate various financial functions into one platform. Therefore, it can reduce the need for multiple banking apps. He also emphasized, and he said that this consolidation will leverage AI for enhanced data intelligence, providing users with seamless and secure banking experiences. Separately, the Bank of International Settlements, BIS advisor, lauded essentially the DREX innovative as the most forward-thinking in the region. Brazil distinguishes itself as in the worldwide CBDC sphere through its focus on transparency and public engagements. Brazil remains a benchmark in central bank digital currency, CBDCs, said the Bank of International Settlements, a benchmark. We see advanced projects in South Korea, Hong Kong, and Singapore, but Brazil is the boldest with a concrete timeline. Recently, the Brazilian Senate delayed a vote on PL 2338/23, a bill that aims to regulate AI tools in the country. This postponement shows an ongoing debates and discussions before the implementation of any formal legislations. The regulatory framework will also be crucial in shaping the implementations and integrations of AI within the super app. In parallel, Brazil's central bank and essentially Caxio are also collaborating on advanced payment solutions. They are testing offline payments using DREX, enabling transactions without internet connectivity, offline CBDCs. So let's just say if the world goes offline, for example, as another pandemic, we go through an offline situation. We've experienced some offline situations so far with CrowdStrike, and the ironic part of only Microsoft being affected, Microsoft being Bill Gates, and Bill Gates and Melinda Foundation is building CBDC wallets and essentially social credit systems. The ironic part about that. But if we do go offline, obviously, what's going to come and save the day? Offline CBDCs. So that's what they mean by that. This initiative aims to facilitate financial transactions in remote areas as well, enhancing the accessibility and reliability of digital payments. Local medias reported that the Banco do Brasil described the foundation of their offline payment solution as a symbolic money. He emphasized that the devices which operate without an online connection reliability, and regarding facilitating funds transfers between wallets. Overall, this initiative marks a crucial advancement in pursuing complete digital financial inexclusivity. If we do experience an offline type of situation, which we're getting closer, that was a little tease, regarding CrowdStrike. That was a little teaser, as JP put it as well, little teaser. And when we get the big final grand raw, it's just going to be offline CBDCs. Create a problem, introduce a solution, voila. The whole world's going to be on CBDCs. This is also an indication of how close we're actually getting to CBDCs, country by country, how close we're getting. And ironically, at the beginning of this year, we had many news channels, which their videos are still there if anybody wants to go and look at the BBC, ITV, CNN, any news channel from the West side, or even, the Asian side, the Middle Eastern countries, or any news channel. If you go to their news publications at the beginning of the year, every single news channel said, we're expecting some sort of blackouts during this year. Every single news channel said this. They said, we're expecting some sort of blackouts this year, but we're not sure when. And they said, it won't also be, all at the same time. And then, that's what they said at the beginning of the year. They said, we're not sure when, but this year we're going to be experiencing some sort of blackouts, and it won't be every country at the same time or every continent at the same time. And then, based on what they said, you fast forward to essentially, about a week ago, which was CrowdStrike. Just a little teaser of banking systems not working, airports not working, hospitals not working. Just a little teaser. And once we do go through a blackout type of situation, offline CBDCs will be there to save the day. And then when we come out of the blackout type of situation, everybody's already on CBDCs because offline CBDCs save the day. Some people will be too scared to go back to the old financial system because they'll think to themselves, oh no, what about if we go through another blackout? I might as well keep my CBDCs because they still work when I'm offline. You see how they mess with people's heads? Because even when people go on CBDCs, offline CBDCs, because, create a problem, introduce a solution. Once you come out of the blackout situation and now you're on CBDCs, people will think to themselves, oh no, if I leave my CBDCs, what about if we go through another blackout? I might as well stay with my CBDCs. It's so easy to brainwash people. But, how you can benefit from morons, XRP. If you're intelligent, you can benefit from XRP. If you're a moron, you're going to be on CBDCs. So, you might as well benefit from the morons that are going to be on CBDCs. And you're going to be the backbone of those CBDCs because you're an XRP. So benefit from the morons. I think Ripple's slogan, sooner or later, should just be benefit from the morons. Because they will be on CBDCs and you will be on XRP. And you're going to benefit from their misery. But we're going to go towards CBDCs anyways. So why not benefit from it? Now, we have reached the endings of tonight's live show as well. So on tonight's live show, we covered news regarding Brazil's essentially super app they're coming out with on their CBDC in 2025. A CBDC that they said they're going to launch in 2035, but it's coming out next year. And as I said previously, I'm pretty much never wrong. Everything I said, back to back, just came true. So, well, no, I'm almost right. No. I'm never wrong. We also talked about Ripple CLO on the slideshow as well, doing an investment on essentially Donald Trump, but not talking about it. We also talked about the U.S. Senate Banking Committee as well. We also talked about Michael Saylor on tonight's live show as well. We talked about Kamala Harris and how the cryptocurrency Bitcoin area will be affected. We talked about Grayscale regarding getting a green light for their mini trust. We talked about essentially the Federal Reserve ending all enforcement actions against Silvergate Bank. We talked about the cross-border payments on Bitcoin regarding Marathon Digital. We talked about Michigan pension funds, the information that just came out, the data that came out of going towards Bitcoin ETFs. We talked about America is headed for bankruptcy. We also talked from Elon Musk's perspective and Peter's perspective. We also talked about essentially the Swiss banks talking about stablecoins and identities if you want to do transactions on crypto policies. We also talked about pro-Bitcoin RFK Jr., his perspective and points of views. We talked about the Anthony, which was the founder of Skybridge Capital, and his perspectives on a CNBC interview. So, if you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like, and tune into it every single night. This is the CMF live show. You can tune into it every single night, where I talk about the most recent news that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, AI, regulations, politics, things that you should know about going into a digital world and how you can prepare yourself. Okay, just, roaming blackouts, go figures. Thanks, Miles. Enjoy the weekend. Let's go, Shelly. Shelly, see you tomorrow, sometimes usual. 0.8% wrong. Come on. 0.08% low. Thanks for another great show, Miles. Scott, see you tomorrow, sometimes usual. Thank you, Miles, for all the info. Take care and see you tomorrow. Mike, see you tomorrow, sometimes usual as well. Good night, Miles, and all CMF. Great live. Thank you. Let's go, JP. JP, see you tomorrow, but at the same time as usual. You are outstanding, Miles, too. I like the way I'm able to give my perspective and opinion. Let's go, Scott. Scott, see you tomorrow, brother. Same time as usual. Good night, Miles and family. Great live. Thanks. Have a good one. Ian, let's go. See you tomorrow, same time as usual. Miles, do you remember us discussing a while ago that it doesn't matter who wins the US elections, all the crypto contracts are already in place and is pre-planned, i.e. all the X coins? Pretty much, yes. Facts. Pretty fair when I do remember, yes. My mentor, let's go, Scott. Thank you so much for the kind words, brother. Good live tonight, Miles. Thank you, Troy. See you tomorrow, sometimes usual as well. No problem. I'll message you on regarding the assets, so you want to move to Tangent as well. What's up? What's up, brother? Very late today. Billo, good to see you. How you doing, brother? XRP news today. Did I miss it? Just one. Investments that was made. 600,000 XRP was donated from the CLO of Ripple to Trump. Good night, Miles, and all CMF. Free forever. See you tomorrow, sometimes usual as well. I'm investing in Miles. Let's go, Scott. Scott, see you tomorrow, sometimes usual as well. Billo, see you tomorrow, sometimes usual as well. Free forever. Good night, Miles, and all CMF. See you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. JP and Shelly, hello, Mike. Miles, I can't see the others online. They are online, but I don't know if they're still online. Billo, let's go. Just, the only news was essentially regarding XRP. 600,000 XRP was donated to Trump. Your opinion about 4? I would have to look into it to see what the recent, essentially, developments are before I give you a perspective. But direct message me, I'll definitely check it out. Now, we have also reached the endings of tonight's live show, which means if you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like, and tune into it every single night. If you watch us on YouTube, subscribe if you enjoyed it, and follow, drop a like, drop a comment if you want. Helps with the algorithm. On X, the same thing. Drop a like, drop a retweet, and drop a comment. It helps with the algorithm as well. I will see everybody. And by the way, we have a Telegram group as well, which everybody's more than welcome to join. This is at the comment section. Scott, see you tomorrow, so as usual, brother. Good night. I'll see everybody tomorrow, same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. CMF, see you tomorrow, same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. See you tomorrow, same time as usual.